Booyah, and welcome to the Game Sports Show. It is your host, David McCaig, here inside ONNtv Studios, joined by my main guy, Alex Parr. Alex,
what's going on, everybody?
How are you?
I'm doing well. We missed last week, but look at him. Nice and dark, nice and tanned.
I got the nice, maybe more of a shade on the face. The body's definitely a couple shades darker, if you will.
He asked if we could do this show without a shirt on, and due to advertisers and things like that.
We weren't unable to. That'd be a different kind of show. Nonetheless, while I was gone in my absence, and much where you may be viewing this on YouTube, viewing it live on TV,
yes, sir.
Or you may be listening to it on our website, thegamesportshow.com, or through Spotify, through Apple, through Podbean. Either way, a lot of different platforms you can listen to us on, including Facebook and Instagram as well. Make sure to give us a follow at The Game Sports Show. Now, nonetheless, last week, I was absent. I was away in the Cayman Islands. Not going to rub anything in. It was fantastic.
It was an
amazing trip. And I got to give a shout out to Jordan LaRue and Emily Abe, my engaged friends, if you will.
Congratulations.
Definitely. They were a great host to myself and my girlfriend, and it was an amazing time. The weather was, there was no clouds. It was pure sun for 7 days. I just want to make sure everyone
knows. But he's not rubbing it in. Let's make sure we drive home that statement.
But I want to say thank you to Alex and thank you to everyone, including yourselves, the listeners, and also the viewers. And just in terms of, missing me and all the have fun, I got a lot of messages on Facebook and also Instagram. Oh, that looks beautiful. Hope you're having fun. Hopefully it's a safe trip, etc. I know there's a lot of concern with the coronavirus going around. No, I did not catch that. No, I have no issues. I am good to go. But nonetheless, Alex did cover my show last week here on the Canada side, or I shouldn't say mine, it's our show.
Yes, and
the whole
tip of the hat to Dane and Justin as well.
Yes, you had it. And everyone always said that why you don't introduce the people first off the hop of the show. Alex introduced them off the hop of the show.
I changed it up.
So going forward, I will do that. Okay,
just so you know. I don't want to change the format of your show. It's just,
And Scott Mason did a great job across the river as always. We also had a show on Monday, yesterday, ESPN 1400, through one of our partners with ESPN. So check all that out. You can check all the previous editions of the show. And as always, thank you for following us here on the Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show. A lot of big things coming. As always, definitely been a busy year, and I'm finally getting back to it. This is my first day back to work and also first day back to doing the show. So if I'm a little bit in vacation mode, there might be a little come on Daves later on in the show, just like I'm probably getting right now to hurry up the introduction. So getting to the show, we're going to get into it and talk some hockey here on the Game Sports Show. So with hockey in the NHL, we're going to start NHL. We are going to get to local later on in the show, but there's a lot of news in the National Hockey League, and we're going to start with the Eastern Conference teams on the Canada side. And before we even jump to that, I know people are going to wonder if we're going to talk about Detroit and Columbus. We'll try to get to that before commercial as well, because I know we have our analyst, Craig Hartsburg, and also with EJ covering Columbus, and then with obviously Butch and Scott covering the Detroit side. So we'll make sure to try to get to that as best as possible. But we're going to start with the Ottawa Senators.
Okay.
There's a team that didn't lose in San Jose earlier in the week.
Wow.
Nonetheless,
Salty Leafs fans just can't hide it. Don't worry, I'm in the same boat.
Nonetheless, Ottawa fans are having a little bit of a treat this year. They might have a couple high draft picks, or they will have their own, but don't know where San Jose is going to fall. Most likely it's in a top 10 pick.
No CEO, though.
No CEO. I know there's a lot of issues with that. So, Alex, I'll let you start. Do you want to talk quickly about the CEO part, the little update? I know you guys talked about it last week, but just in case listeners and viewers do not know about it, you can give them a quick little education, then just talk about their season.
Yeah, well, we're not really sure what happened. I mean, the CEO of the Ottawa Senators did say that he swore on the phone, and he was talking to Eugene Melnick, and if swearing's not allowed in the NHL atmosphere, they must be doing something wrong, because big boys say bad words sometimes. Just so you know, Eugene. So yeah, he got canned. The circus continues in Ottawa with their management, but the rebuild's going perfectly according to plan. You're battling for second last place with all three of those of those California teams. And I mean, hey, like, you literally couldn't be asking for anything better. If you have any star performances, I know Duclair's kind of trailed off. Shabbat, he is going to be one of the best defensemen in the league in maybe next year's time.
Yep.
I don't really think
future Norris winner.
Where this team is going is it's going to be a little bit of pain for a while, but this is going in the exact direction they need to. It's kind of like ripping off that Band-Aid. Do it fast, get your picks, get your rebuild done, and see what core pieces you have moving forward.
The big thing this year with Ottawa is there was no expectation. I know we've talked about everything with the Canadian team throughout the entirety of the season, and what I meant by when I went to Alex and said this update on the season, I want to say that they're just going as planned. This team wasn't expected to make the playoffs. This team was expected to be the pesky Sens, if you will, as they always have been. And at the end of the day, this is a team that is looking towards the future. And this year they have a promising chance to get a top pick in Alexis Lafreniere, or you're going to maybe get a pick and you're maybe looking at Byfield, you're maybe looking at Perfetti, maybe looking at Jamie Drysdale on the back end. I don't think they would go that route anyways, or even goaltender with Yaroslav Askarov if you have 2 picks. Ottawa fans should be really excited about the potential chance of having these top picks and getting some top prospects, and it's going to accelerate the rebuild. And you know what? Winning games, I would really dislike it if I was an Ottawa fan. Stop winning. Stop winning. But you know what? We've seen that it doesn't matter if you have the highest percentage. You may not win the draft lottery. So nonetheless, you keep playing. I have respect for Ottawa because they do try hard each and every night, in particular in goal. Craig Anderson is still doing a great job.
Yeah, tip of the cap to Craig Anderson.
For sure. It's a lot of good things to watch in Ottawa, a lot of optimism for sure. But there's one team that doesn't have the same optimism right now, and it's the Montreal Canadiens.
No, they do not.
Okay, so now this year was a very kind of complicated year for the Montreal Canadiens, and it's like, okay, are we a playoff team? Are we not a playoff team? Okay, Carey Price and Shea Weber, no, they're not for sale. Tomas Tatar went nowhere at the trade deadline where we thought that he would. 31-30 this season and 71 points in 70 games. Now, they are, believe it or not, they're 8 points behind Toronto for that third in the Atlantic, which is just 4 wins when you think about it, but it's getting a little bit thin.
Yeah, it's getting a little late for that.
It's getting a little late for sure, but never know with that Atlantic division. Either Toronto and Florida are hot at the same time or they're cold at the same time.
Yeah,
that's the way it's been going. Montreal, do they have a chance to make the playoffs? I can't say no that they don't have a chance because mathematically they do, but nonetheless, this is a team that is not looking promising to make it. And as the graphic said, is it time to sell?
Yeah, I think it definitely would be. I think I was the one that suggested to put that there. You should have traded the house at trade deadline day, including Carey Price. I've said this numerous times, and I will say it over and over.
Just Barry Kontaniemi as well. There's a guy.
Your window's closed. I mean, they were in the playoffs making deep runs maybe 5-ish years ago. I'm sorry, but if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. But when it is broke, you call somebody to fix it, and those calls need to be made to other GMs right now. Get the wheels turning. Obviously, you can't talk right now trades because of the part of the year we're in, but you guys know where I'm coming from.
The main thing is, I'm a fan of when you're in that mode of realizing that you're truly not a playoff team. It's just accepting the fact and being a GM, that's the best part of the job.
Yeah.
If you're the selling or buying, if you're at that point where you don't know what to do, that's an issue. You suck as you don't suck as a GM. It sucks as a GM is what I mean. Because you're like, you're hesitating now. Now you're panicking. Like, I don't want to make this move because something can impact this. Right now, Montreal, Marc Bergevin should have been at that point being like, yeah, okay. Maybe you don't trade Carey Price. That's a trade in the offseason. I think you do have to consider moving him, to be honest. I think that's something you have to do. Shea Weber, a little bit more complicated because of the contract, but Tomas Tatar, there's one. And Jesperi Kontaniemi, there's a guy who's down in the American Hockey League right now, and you're hoping for a lot of optimism in his future. So you want to try to get these young guys chances to play in the National Hockey League and move out some of the veterans when you realize now that you're not truly going to be a playoff team. So nonetheless, Montreal, I don't see them making the playoffs. I think in the offseason, I think it's time to sell and focus on such a deep draft to get a lot of draft picks in that first round somehow, okay? Now, another team that is in the Eastern Conference, in the Atlantic, okay, that
you had to look to your notes for this one.
I had to look down to make sure that they were on our paper because, and I want to kind of look at the time here. I don't know if we have a lot of time to talk about the boys in blue, the Toronto Maple Leafs. 69 games, 35 wins, 25 losses, 79 points. Austin Matthews leading the way with 79 points. I guess Matthews scores the way the Leafs get points, okay? Nonetheless, jokes aside, 46 goals, a lot of optimism for Austin Matthews, potentially being your Maurice Richard winner. I predicted at the beginning of the year that this was going to be Ovechkin winning that still, but nonetheless, look at that graphic with Sheldon Keefe shuffling the deck, if you will. Nylander, Matthews, Hyman, Kapanen, Tavares, Marner, Engvall, Kerfoot, Malgin, and then Clifford, Gauthier, and Spencer. Love the line changes. You got kind of a Mike Babcock-esque kind of move with Nylander going back with Matthews and Marner to Tavares. Nonetheless, Marner can play anywhere in that lineup. Okay, he's supposed to be the magician. He's $10+ million. He should be able to play anywhere in that lineup, make anywhere around him better, much like Sidney Crosby does. And no, I'm not comparing Marner to Crosby. Hopefully everyone can halt those nonetheless. But it's still lines that maybe had to be shuffled. But what's the big thing that we're noticing week in, game out, and everything with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Alex?
They suck? Is that what you're looking for? They don't care? Is that what you're looking for? I think, yeah. Man, it is such an exhausting season. I mean, as a Leafs fan, I started watching hockey real closely around that 2005, 2006 lockout season. So you know what that means? That means I haven't been a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs long enough to see them win a single playoff round. So when I'm sold on this idea of being a contender and they just all over every game, it's super frustrating. But they always give me enough to reel me back in. What are they going to do tonight? Riley's back. There's some optimism. And then they're going to win. There's some optimism just to get crushed by the Bruins on Saturday. And it's just going to be, get the circus, get the bearded lady on the unicycle, because it's just the same clowns every night. Bite the bullet, Leafs fans. This ain't the season that it's going to happen. But what makes diamonds? Pressure. Something like that.
You know what? I'll say right now that I believe this is a team that's going to make the playoffs. It's going to be stressful going down the stretch. If they don't make it, I wouldn't be surprised now either, because I couldn't agree more with the effort that they have put through. It's definitely inconsistent nonetheless, and this is a team that's too deep to have this kind of issue. They've battled a lot of injuries, but so has multiple other teams, and they've came through this year. Nonetheless, if you're true, good teams find ways to win. It's an old cliche coaches use, GMs, experts use. Nonetheless, if you're a good team, you will find ways to win. And Toronto has done ways to find ways to lose. Good teams find ways to lose, I guess, as well. But nonetheless, a team that has just been disappointing this year. They battled, done very well under Sheldon Keefe since he's gotten there. But at the end of the day, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs have to be more consistent. They have to show that they care. Show the fans that you care, because that is the big thing that we're not seeing. We see efforts that are so different each game, and it's time to really think and realize what you are as a culture, and the leaders got to step up. And I'm calling out John Tavares. I'm calling out the guys. And as Alex just said right now, they play Tampa tonight. Some of you may be viewing this or hearing this the day after, so we'll know some of the results. But nonetheless, they shuffle the deck, some returns, and let's see how the rest of this week goes for Toronto. Pivotal week.
Go Raptors, go Blue
for the
Jays.
Maple Leafs. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got some more hockey talk here on the Game Sports Show. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. He's Alex. I'm Dave. Last I checked, and we're inside ONNtv studios here on the Game Sports Show, powered by ONNtv, ESPN, and the GameSportsShow.com. Wherever way you're viewing, listening to us, either way, if it's live or if it's after, very happy to be able to join us. Don't hesitate to click like, follow, or subscribe to us. Or also to ONNtv, ESPN 400. So many options.
When you're
to
at
listen
it,
to us.
just throw
Spotify, follow us on
likes.
Spotify, Apple. Oh, there's so many platforms you can listen to us on. Where can I find you? Just search us.
They really have no reason not to listen.
Yeah, really. Especially with the Twin Saults only, local regional national sports show. Nonetheless, we're continuing our Hockey Talk National Hockey League. Before I jump into the other four Canadian teams, I want to give a quick shout out to Detroit and Columbus. Okay, we obviously do we cover all the teams and all the sports, as everyone knows here on the show. But obviously, we give a little extra analysis because of where a lot of our analysts and experts are in Canada and also in the United States, especially in Columbus and Detroit. So shout out to Detroit Red Wings here quick. It's as planned this year, okay?
Couldn't be any better.
Honestly, you're gonna have the highest odds potentially get Alexis Lafreniere. You have some good optimism. Johnny Bernier is reviving his career. There could be some. If you're gonna really maybe trade him or keep him, I don't know. Maybe a goalie that you keep. You got some good value at the draft for Athanasiou and Mike Green. I really think that Detroit's on the right path. Steve Yzerman knows what he's doing, and you have a potential to get a high first overall pick. If not, you're going to have a good pick. And overall, the Detroit Red Wings should maintain status quo. Don't rush this. Telling you from host hats off, Leaf fans, don't rush rebuilds. It takes time. And Detroit is going to be the team that will do it right. Steve Yzerman will do it right. It might take another 3 to 5 years, but let me tell you, in 3 to 5 years, once you've gotten those picks from this year and next year all developed, and then you sign some players in free agency and the cap continues to go up, the Red Wings will be back to its old regular form that we used to love to hate.
Especially knowing Detroit and how well they've drafted. You don't make the playoffs 23 years? Yeah, 23 years straight without being able to draft. You get guys like Zetterberg and Datsuk super late in the draft. So be happy about your picks early on.
And all the success that you've had in recent history. There's no rush.
Don't rush it.
Just take some time from being happy all the time. That'll be kind of sad for a little bit. Then you get back happy. Be much worth it in the end.
Basically, let the Leafs be better for a while, please.
Nonetheless, Columbus quickly. Craig Hartsburg is the player development coach there, obviously one of our analysts, and E.J. Russell being involved in his home. Well, he's in Escanaba, as everyone knows, but he obviously from Ohio. And Columbus has been amazing this year. They have been the pinnacle factor of what the definition is for development and player development. Okay, how people next guy up, and the team has done it. They've done it without Tarmi Panarin. They've done it without Sergei Bobrovsky. They got Elvis in net, Elvis Merzinglis they got in net. They got Seth Jones hurt. They had Atkinson out. They got Ryan Murray out, of course.
Korpisalo hurt.
Korpisalo. You got a team that's just riddled with injuries, and you're still in position that you are. This is if they had a full healthy team for a full year playing the way they are, that'd be dangerous beans. You don't want to play Columbus in the first round. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to play this team in the first round.
Especially if you're Tampa Bay.
Ouch. So Columbus, a lot of good things, optimism this year. I think it's not really going as planned, but they've made do with what they had to, and they should be very happy, management and coaches. John Tortorella, always been a fan of Johnny T. Nonetheless, going to the other 4 Canadian teams, Winnipeg. Another team lost a lot of defensemen this year. Lots. Myers, Trouba, Bufflin. List goes on.
Yeah.
Now, tough spot right now they are in, okay? First wild card spot, 3 points out of a divisional spot, tight Western Conference entirety, never mind just the Pacific Division. Okay, so Winnipeg, are they exceeding expectations right now this year? Because people say they are, and I really don't think they are.
No, I think this is kind of right where you'd expect a team that lost their number 1 defenseman and then lost a bunch of others through trades and injuries. They're doing all right for themselves, and if they can squeak into a playoff spot, that's all Winnipeg needs because they've got guys that have been there, deep runs who have done it before, but are still hungry because they haven't won.
Nonetheless, is a team that's so good offensively. They got good offense.
Disgusting. Mark Scheifele.
Fantastic offense. Good coaching. Paul Maurice, friend of the show. And also the goaltending. Connor Hellebuck has been superb. Vezina type of season for Connor Hellebuck.
Absolutely.
So I'll say optimism in Winnipeg. I think they're going to make it. I think they're going to pull it off.
Yeah.
I think they have the ability to. They can have a deep run. I think not. But I think this offseason, Kevin Cheveldayoff will have a fun offseason because I think he can be able to attract some players to be around this young talent. The Vancouver Canucks.
Oh, no.
I think there's a team that's exceeded expectations this year. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't peg them as a playoff team. I thought they were a year or two away still from being a playoff team. But boy, was I wrong. Despite signing Myers, despite having Quentin Hughes, despite having Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, who is actually returning to lineup as well. There's another injury that's returning tonight, which would be the Tuesday game for them. But they have 76 points. A little bit of a struggle in the past 10, but they're 3 points back in the divisional spot, and 1 point out of the wild card, 2 points out of wild card 1 at this current time of broadcast. So nonetheless, the Vancouver Canucks are looking at a point where they are exceeding expectations in my eyes. Now that they're starting to fall a little bit, I think they have the team that can bounce back still, though, especially with Brock returning to the lineup.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
best hair in the league.
Best hair, yeah. I think he's up there, top 3.
Sorry, Willie, you don't have that.
Top three for sure. And I mean, JT Miller, what a season he's put together.
Right.
When that trade happened, people were like, whoa, that's a lot for a third-line center. 71 points throughout the season so far. That's pretty good. And I'm always the first to rub it in the panelist's face when I said, I picked Vancouver to make the playoffs. Vancouver, don't make me look stupid. You're 3-6-1 in your last 10 games, which sucks, but you can smell that playoff spot. 1 point for the second wild card.
City of Vancouver will love it.
2 for that wild card 1, and 3 points back in the divisional spot. You just got to put your nose to the grindstone, and you've got 3 playoff spots within fingertips reach.
It'd be nice to see all the Canadian teams make the playoffs, especially out of the West. Obviously, we'll see that in the East between Ottawa and potentially, I shouldn't say Montreal.
Definitely Montreal, you can say that.
Yeah, so, but it'd be good to see the rest of the teams give us a chance to go for the cup, despite doesn't matter if you're last seed or first seed, okay, you still have a chance. Look at Columbus last year. They did it at Tampa. Not every team's like Columbus, though. Nonetheless, Vancouver, I love Tyler Myers. Big fan of Tyler Myers. Big fan of Aaron Ekblad. As people know, he was on Florida. I love the bigger defenseman, and I think Tyler Myers has been actually a kind of a quiet top defenseman in Vancouver. I think he's done a fantastic job. A little bit overpaid, but nonetheless, when the cap goes up, it won't
Don't forget Jakob Markstrom either. Most underrated goalie in the league.
He's having potentially an award-type season as well. Calgary and Edmonton, the 2 teams, will go to Calgary first. The Calgary Flames were not too hot, if you will. They weren't flaming in the first bit of the season.
See what you did there, Dave.
They were cooling off. They were having smoke, but now they're in the Pacific. Good bounce back, coaching change, a little bit of drama out of that locker room with Bill Peters, no offense. Nonetheless, Matthew Tkachuk leading the way in points. A lot of balanced scoring on Calgary. You think you'd see Gaudreau higher or Monahan, but no, Tkachuk leading the way. And obviously right now they're 2 points up right now. And is this a team that's shown that they can be a team that can make? This is a team that's supposed to be a second-round team in the playoffs. I don't beg to see right now.
I don't know. They're still at a -5 goal differential.
That's a problem for a team that's in the playoffs.
For a team that's in the playoffs, like if you look at teams like Tampa Bay and Boston, who are leading the league in goal differential, they're plus 51 right now. So just for any comparison's
Big
sake,
save, Dave.
yeah, they're gonna need Big Save Dave times like 300 though. So I don't know, Calgary. I've been wary on your positioning all year, and I don't think I've seen anything that should make me convinced that you are going to be a solid team. So.
No, I thought they'd have such a good defense because of Rasmus Anderson, who I'm a big fan of as well. Hamonic,
where's
TJ
Gaudreau?
Brody.
Where's Monahan?
Those guys are not too right now. They are not. They got to step up if they want to be successful and go further on this season. But I think they are going to be a playoff team. Don't worry, there, Calgary fans. But it's going to be a tough first round, especially if you end up playing the Edmonton Oilers. Imagine that in the first round.
The bloodbath.
I'm sorry. Give me. I want that second round. Don't get me wrong, but give me on the first round.
Just so
I want to see
it.
some bloodbath. I want to see some things going on, some old time hockey, if you will, in Calgary and Edmonton.
For sure, bad.
Edmonton now transitioning to the Edmonton Oilers.
What a good segue.
I gotta say right now, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I thought this team wouldn't be a playoff team this year.
No, but wow, Draisaitl, holy.
Can you slow down? You're making the guys look bad out there, okay?
Yeah.
43 goals. We got 4 goals against Nashville. They did like whatever last week. You got 67. It's 110 points. Okay, we're only 70 games in. He's got 12 games left. This guy might have 130 points the way he's going, especially playing with, well, not all the time with McDavid, but he's mostly with McDavid at times.
Remember that $8.5 million a year deal?
Remember how much I sat and said, oh, the contract sucks.
Yeah, because I thought the contract sucked too, but
Sucks, eh? It's horrible.
sorry, Shirelli. Oops.
Yeah, but hey, Mitch Marner, how's it? Oh yeah.
Whoever finds Johnny Gaudreau, please bring Mitch Marner back with you too.
Nonetheless, Draisaitl McDavid did more points than McDavid does. Yeah. McDavid, okay.
Do you think McDavid's like a little bad
and he missed
taste
the
in
game
his
with the
mouth?
flu. No, he does not have coronavirus or what did they say?
Corona, like
They said Mick virus or something. They made a name for it. He doesn't have a. Yeah, I don't know where I read that, but
That's dumb.
we gotta stop with these jokes. Okay, it's a very serious thing that's going on with coronavirus.
We'll be talking about it next segment.
We will be, but the Edmonton Oilers, playoff team.
The most clear there is of playoff teams.
I was wrong. It's a team that's going to make the playoffs. And you should be excited. NS Athanasiou. And you got Draisaitl. I love those jerseys.
They're so beautiful.
They're nice jerseys.
I was going to say sexy too. Yeah, they're sexy jerseys.
They are. And McDavid, everyone in Edmonton should be very optimistic. The injuries coming back. And the goaltending still kind of scares me with Koskinen and Smith a little bit, but they've done well this year though.
They've done so well.
Yeah, surprisingly. That's why there's just a lot of underlying factors I didn't think they would do so well. Nonetheless, Edmonton, that's been our entire Canadian team roundup, including with Columbus, Detroit, and just the National Hockey League. We'll talk more about it on our Thursday show when we get around to more teams. But we got to take our break. And we come back, it's kind of a segue into, we're going to talk about the coronavirus and LeBron James. Is it yesterday's news? A little bit, but we got some updated news involving that. And yes, we're talking coronavirus here on the Game Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. I said that nice and slow. Dave, Alex, on TV studios, the Game Sports Show. You may be listening through us through live, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, to our various.
Whoa, slow down. You're going a little fast.
I had to pick it up. That's why I had to get it in my brain and say it out loud.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, now we're going to get into part 3 of the show. And while we were off air, I was actually reading an Instagram story from a friend of mine as they took their early honeymoon. I'm not going to mention names. I don't really want to make them feel uncomfortable by any means. But they came home earlier because Italy is in a countrywide lockdown.
Yep.
They actually made it to Toronto the flight prior to Air Canada canceling flights from Italy. They almost were in Italy. Okay, I just read that off air. I was going to definitely send a message after as I push my phone over so I don't get distracted by it. Nonetheless, the coronavirus has definitely affected the entire world, especially in Italy, China. We can go on with everything in Europe.
You guys know about
everyone
the
knows about the
coronavirus.
coronavirus. We're not going to get into and talking about the coronavirus, about what it is, because everyone sure knows what it is. I've gotten texts saying, Dave, it's the flu. Okay, I know there's a lot of stories out there saying that the flu has killed more people, etc. But we're not here on the show to talk about life and death, because that's not what a sports show is.
Clearly, we're just not smart enough to talk about
that either.
I mean,
thank you for saying the obvious.
I
but we understand this is something that's the world wasn't prepared for, so that's why it's happening the way that it is. Okay, so as scientists, if you will, and doctors try to discover a cure, what they can do, we're doing what we can as a society to contain it, especially at the Surrey Hospital where I work full time. Every entrance is a screen that you got to go through now just to walk in, even as an employee. So right now, and me traveling, I've came from the Cayman Islands. I came home in a good time. Cayman Islands is free of it right now, which is fantastic, which is why I probably got the luck of the draw. But nonetheless, it's still a worldwide issue that has affected sports. And as you saw on the graphic there's some fields in Italy and a lot of shutdown that has happened. We've had German hockey leagues closed and European hockey leagues shut down for the rest of the season. Okay, everything's getting affected. Now in the NHL, they're having a little bit of issues in San Jose. There's fans not showing up, not being able to attend, my apologies, and media being closed to the locker rooms.
Right, I think
not
that's
being able
league-wide.
That is league-wide as well. So that's a process put in place, and we hope it doesn't affect anything with the NHL season or anything coming up. The coronavirus, like I said, the big thing that I wanted to bring up with this is definitely seeing the effects of it right now. And first thing, we hope that it doesn't really affect any more sports, especially professionally.
Anything, anybody at all.
If you're sick or have symptoms of it, go see your nearest doctor and give you that advice, and just stay away from other people contact right now, to stay quarantined, if you will, until you're able to get the help that you need or really, get changed. But nonetheless, LeBron James. I want to get to LeBron James. Okay. And as I said, as you'll see on there right now, LeBron James won't play without fans. Now, this is something that was said earlier last week, and we wanted to bring it up because I felt it was interesting. I brought it up yesterday on ESPN 1400 with Scott, Nason, EJ, with Butch Davis, not EJ. But we play games without the fans? No, it's impossible, he said. I ain't playing if I ain't got the fans in the crowd. That's who I play for. I play for my teammates. I play for my fans. That's what it's all about. If I show up to an arena and there are no fans in there, I ain't playing. They can do what they want to do. But nonetheless, Alex, your thoughts?
Does your check still get signed? Yeah? Okay, well, then you're going to play. That would be my exact thought if I'm any level of management. Sure, LeBron, I know you're in a league that's completely run by the players and management really has no say on a lot of it.
He gets to run his own team, probably. What are you talking about? He probably runs the Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're just going to back out, you said you play for two entities there, the fans and your teammates. And regardless if their fans are going to be there, your teammates are going to be there. And come on, LeBron, you know who you are, you know how good you are, you know you're LeBron James. Play for those guys. Because at the end of the day, those are who you're playing for. And that's a very selfish mindset, I think, to think, no, there's no fans, nobody's going to be there with a big LeBron head and a sign that says LeBron is GOAT or whatever. No, that's not the way. Go play a game of basketball and keep dominating. I don't know. That rattled me. That really did rattle me.
You know what? I don't disagree with Alex, but I'll tell you this from not from an athlete perspective. I don't play basketball in any kind of dimension area. I think I can drain threes like Kobe did. Nonetheless, I will say that LeBron kind of he's the figure of the NBA.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the poster boy, if you will, of the NBA. And I think that with him saying that, he's maybe hoping to instill a little bit of worry into the minds of the NBA to avoid doing this. And maybe instead of saying to fans, no, you're not allowed, I can tell you from experience with border security now especially that the shutdown is real, okay? There's doctors there now, there's nurses there now, believe it or not. There's security there, they have masks, they got tests, they can test you there if they really need to.
Oh yeah.
It takes 14 days, they say, for symptoms, etc. There's a lot of underlying factors. But nonetheless, anything with flu-like symptoms, things can be done to help prevent this and still getting people into the environment of the basketball game. But a lot of people that are athletes, much like LeBron James, play the sport they love because they like to demonstrate their talent in front of people. But here's my fun fact for you, Alex. I brought up on the Monday show yesterday.
Cool.
When a team is on home court or even home ice, whatever it may be, unless you're maybe in Toronto, sometimes you can hear pin drops, calling out the Toronto Maple Leaf fans for that. But fans look and create a different atmosphere for players. Okay, let's say you're down 3-1 or you're down 10 in the game. You drain a 3 or you score a goal. Fans get real into it, right? Everyone's all excited, you get pumped, you celebrate. You got Marchand doing this, okay? You got things like that going on. But nonetheless, that gives you momentum. Therefore, with momentum and excitement from the fans that you're absorbing from changes the outcome in the game. So I'm taking it from a scientist-ish type perspective.
Dave, you're a local sports scientist.
Scientific kind of perspective and giving you the example that fans affect the outcome of the game, even though people are like, nah, Dave, they don't. It's the people on the ice. Yes, you're right, but I can tell you from experience, Alex can maybe tell you from being, you playing or you being a fan, whatever it may be, or even yourselves, the viewers or listeners, you get amped up. I can tell you from playing games in front of 6,500 people, I got amped up. Imagine playing in front of 25,000 or 20,000, 50,000, whatever it may be. You kind of, your whole perspective gets changed.
But do you know who else impacts the game a lot? LeBron James. LeBron, play your stupid basketball game and don't complain about it. Just do it for your boys. Do it for your boys. Do it for Danny Green. Get him another championship.
I think, honestly, I would call his bluff that he won't play.
Yeah, I think I would too.
But I can see why you don't want not to have fans there, because truly it does affect the outcome of the game. And LeBron loves that, and it wouldn't make money for the businesses. The economy will hurt. There's a lot of underlying factors. I hope it doesn't get to that point. But if it does, honestly, if LeBron doesn't play and the players don't play, then the Lakers get violated for it. It's going to be a big issue if this happens in towards North American sports as well. So very curious to see how the story continues to unfold. But let us know what you think, if I'm right about the fans change the outcome of the game, or Alex's perspective if LeBron James is going a little too far and should just play.
Just play the game.
We're here with the Game Sports Show. Myself, Alex. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got local roundup here on the Game Sports Show. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. I love that local roundup segue. Who's that wanted guy?
Oh, no.
I say that every time. It doesn't get old. We got local to discuss here on the Game Sports Show, and that's with the Greyhounds. So it's the OHL. We're going to talk about NCAA, the NOJHL, the ACHA. We get into the Brier. We also get into AAA hockey as well. We get into all the local sports. So if you'd like to get us to talk about local sports, either on the ONNtv version, the radio, or podcast version, don't hesitate to send stories to us. I know I've had people approach me saying, why don't you talk about local bowling more? That's one in particular. I've been getting a lot of feedback about, so we're trying to get all the... We like to talk things with having a story. We don't just want to talk about things without having the correct facts. Yeah, we don't like to follow notes on the show, but nonetheless, we like to make sure we have accurate information. So if you want to send us information about events going on, stats, provincials, or anything going on in your local that we have missed or that we don't talk about as often, you can reach out to ONNtv, you can reach out to ESPN 1400 Sovereign Communications, or on the Game Sports Show website on the contact page, sent right to our email that I get on my cellular device, and we'll make sure that we talk about it. We promise you that. Now, getting into it, the OHL, we'll start there with the Sault Greyhounds. Alex, I lean on you with a lot of the Greyhounds, not just because I go, but obviously this is, I consider you the main analyst for the OHL. So.
Wow, that's the pressure that I've got on me now. Yeah, as you can see on the screen, the Greyhounds picked up 2 very important wins, but as each game passes, they become more and more important. The Erie Otters finally don't have any games at hand on them. They're both tied, or they're 3 points back of the Otters, and they've got 5 games left, 6 games left. So it's doable. You're only 3 points back, but I mean, I was so confident in the Greyhounds being able to make it this year. I think they're doing it right in playing Bailey Birkin. They've been playing him pretty hard for the stretch to try to make that playoff spot. I think as soon as they are either clinched or they know they're not going to make it, Malik's going to play the rest of the way through.
Big thing, especially with Bailey, you depend on the veteran side, and Nick Malik is the future of this team. This goalie is going to be fantastic. I've said it numerous times. I've kind of gave it a little bit of a kind of damper some media locally in particular that kind of gave shots towards the goalie.
About it.
I was pretty fired up. This goalie is going to change this grand. I'll tell you right now, as he's a 17-year-old, when next year and the year after, by the year after, when he's 19, he will be goaltender of the year in the OHL. That is how much I stand behind Nick Malik. Okay, that's cool. He's going to be a stud. 3 points behind the Otters. It's 100% doable for the Hounds. Keep supporting. Go out, support them. Wednesday they play against Flint. They have games. Check out their website. Also make sure to check out Jerry Linscomb Jr. on Rock 101 with our friends through ESPN 1400 and Sovereign Communications. Hello, Jerry Linscomb. But nonetheless, you have the Hounds that have a chance. And this is a team that has a lot of returning guys next year. Craig Hartsburg even said it, former Greyhound coach and analyst here on the Game Sports Show. No big deal. Nonetheless, you have the Greyhounds locally. There's some. Go out there and support them because they're so close, Alex. And the big thing of the problem with this is scored a lot of goals this year, but they've allowed a lot of goals against. Okay, and now what I've seen with this team is changes they've changed the kind of system the last couple weeks. I've noticed watching some tape, being at games, and I've seen Brian Bailey is a smart play because he's also the veteran. It's his last year. Give him that taste. But nonetheless, I think even if you don't make it and you get unclutched, I think you got to give Bailey a little bit more extra games because this is his last year, his last hurrah. He's a veteran. Nick will be there for 200 plus more games in his OHL career before transitioning to the National Hockey League and going into pro. So nonetheless, Bailey needs to play out, I think, the rest, if not 80% or more, give him the chance.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I think until that they know what their fate is, you'll see Bailey in net. But when it comes to social media, the Greyhounds faithful love jumping on John Dean. Now, I asked the guys on when I hosted on Wednesday.
You sure did host.
I did. That was
a great
me.
job. You didn't think I'd listen to the show either.
Yeah. I know you wanted to call me out for a couple things on there, but either way, before we get there, John Dean, is he as terrible as the internet claims?
No.
And I don't get it either.
You know what? I get it that there's been questionable calls, but I still think this isn't a guy that you would relieve of his duties yet this year. I think next year's the deciding factor. I think if the Hounds aren't successful next year, being in the playoffs at least, if they're not, let's say they're not, and I just say generally not in the playoffs, then John Dean will not return the year after, to be honest. Because I think next year the pressure is on to make the playoffs, especially with Nick being 18, et cetera. A lot of the returning guys, you got to make it next year. But I still have faith in John Dean. I do have some doubts. I do see why you would have the doubts, but that comes when you have a team that isn't as successful as it should be. But nonetheless, stop giving them grief. People see that. Families see that. People, I know you're like, oh, we pay for who cares. This isn't just like the National Hockey League where they have millions of subscribers or whatever, followers, and they aren't looking. People read this.
This is Sault Ste. Marie, where your neighbor could be a billet family. Like, you just don't know how close your ties are.
You know what? I'm not saying that you can't be negative. Say your points, but keep them responsible and respectful people. Maybe keep the brash towards maybe us hosts for talking positive or negative if you want. I'll take some of the blame. Give John Dean a little time here. Give him another season, I think. If he gets relieved this year, I'd be kind of surprised after the season.
I have to say the same.
LSSU, NCAA, we only got about not even 5 minutes left on this part. We're going to go to our break, so we'll try to go as quick as possible. LSSU Lakers did not proceed into this, let's say, the extracurriculars in the seasons this year.
I like what you did there. Schools, extracurriculars, love it.
Like that. 14, 23-4. They were great at home-ish. A little above 500, but away it was a little bit of a struggle. 6 and 15-1 home. They were above 500 is what I meant by that. But overall, goals a game, they were under 2.5. Shots a game, they were just under 30. So they got a lot of pucks in net. The average, you want to try to get 10 shots a period. Believe it or not, that is what you want to get. That's the goal for coaches. If you can get more, great, but the goals for a game is an issue. They weren't able to bury on chances. After such an optimistic year last year, the LSSU Lakers come back this year with a little bit of a disappointment after so much optimism in Sault, Michigan and Sault, Ontario for the Lakers. But nonetheless, it's still a process. Okay, LSSU doesn't have the same kind of, let's say, facilities and revenue as much the bigger schools have. Hopefully they may get some good recruitment going and help improve this program.
Yep.
Transitioning from the NCAA to the NOJHL, it's playoff time.
Woo!
Playoffs. Talking about playoffs? Yeah, we're talking about playoffs here. And it's the West Division. The Eagles defeat the Espanola Express, 4th seed against the 5th seed, and they won 2-0 in that series. Now you have the West Division all laid out locally. The Rayside Balfour Canadiens will play against the Sioux Eagles, and Blind River will play against the Sioux Thunderbirds. I got that Beavers and Thunderbirds series highlighted. Let me tell you, no offense to Rayside and Sioux Eagles, that's also going to be a great series. It's such close. All the teams are very close, but obviously with me, just here locally with Blind River and Thunderbirds, I think that's just going to have a little bit of an edge and excitement because of close to seeding. But either way, the Eagles are very pesky hockey team. Rayside's got some stellar goaltending as well. So I think no one can pick who's going to win these series. I really can't, and I'm not going to make the picks. I played for 3 out of those 4 teams. I'm not going to do that, as I chirp myself kind of in that factor. Including with Blind River, special shout out as they had their team banquet on Saturday, and while I was in the Cayman Islands, I was asked to give a write-up to where I was. They wanted to reach out to me, and they kind of respected me as a player there in Blind River. So I want to give them a shout out that you may view and listen to the show. But they put a nice little write-up to where they are now. It's a part of their little where they are now in there. So I want to give a shout out to them and everyone else who wrote to take the time and give a little bit of optimism. There's life after hockey if you don't proceed in professional hockey. Maybe you can operate a sports show or be on the show. Just saying. Nonetheless, NOJHL playoffs, getting back to that excitement. It's get out to those games. Blind River's an hour-and-a-half drive. The Sioux, if you're here in the Sioux, it's a 15-minute drive. Over the river, you can go watch a game. You can go to the casino after. Sudbury's 3 hours away. It's worth going down, maybe have a dinner. Go out, enjoy some time. But overall, the Sioux Thunderbirds starting their playoffs that they will play Thursday the 12th. They play Saturday, and then they will be playing on Monday, and then they'll be playing Wednesday. And we'll get into the fine-tooth detail on Thursday from Northern Superior Brewing Company as well. And we'll have our coverage there for the Game Sports Show and all the local playoff as well.
Also, do not write off the Sioux Thunderbirds in that series where you go,
or the Eagles in their series.
Right. I mean, I was looking at the Blind River Beavers, Sioux Thunderbirds stats throughout the season. They played each other 8 times, 4-4. Can't get any more even than that.
Can't. Now, we've just got not even a minute before break, so get into this quick. Brad Jacobs wins 2 tiebreaker Saturday, faces Gershu and loses 7-5. Gershu goes on to win the Brier. You lose to the winner of the Brier.
So does that mean Brad Jacobs was second best at the Brier?
Yes.
I think that's what it means too.
Even if you lost to Gershu, the person who lost to Gershu in the finals, you're still Brad Jacobs was a favorite going into there, played the villain but did not succeed. They hard fought. They were exhausted, but that's not an excuse. They played very well, but they did not win. You win so many championships this year, but you don't win that one. It's okay, boys. You grinded very hard.
Leading points and leading money getters for the season is Team Jacob. So can't really whine about spilled milk over this tournament. They're playing great curling.
They are. Now, quickly, before we go to break, Sioux College Cougars, they go to Nationals on the 18th in Dallas. Make sure to check out Sioux College Cougars on Facebook, and also make sure to check out Sioux Indians and the Sioux Junior Greyhounds as well. They won the highest point total since the North Stars back in the day, so make sure you check out their social media pages for future games and reference as well. Dave, Alex, taking a break here on the Game Sports Show. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Final part of our show here tonight, and now a little bit different. People are going to be like, where's the graphic for In the Pocket? We do not have In the Pocket tonight. It's a surprise. We have In the Pocket tomorrow from Sports Center Bar and Grill. So you think I would have forgot to throw the football? Nope, can't throw it. Might get picked off because we don't have the show for tonight. We're saving that for Wednesday. So I'm throwing this to Wednesday. And we'll see if he gets caught on Wednesday. Make sure you tune in to that. We'll have some In the Pocket session. We have, in terms of In the Pocket, there's a little bit of local news and XFL. We figured we'd jump into some other news in the world of sports, in particular with UFC and the Toronto Blue Jays. And I got a little special thumbs up because we have some breaking news here on the show in terms of what we read on TSN. But nonetheless, we'll get into the UFC 248. Okay, yeah, Zhang against Joanna. The female fight was the best fight in that. And I did watch that from a local bar in the Cayman Islands as it was at night. And the fight was a little bit extended, and they actually kicked us out of the bar in round 5 of the fight between Romero and Israel. Okay, but it was more of a boring fight, that male fight, to be honest. The fans were booing. They had every right to boo that fight. I'm a big fan of Israel. I did not see it in that match. Romero was just focusing on just playing dance off, I guess. I'm not too sure what I was thinking of that UFC, but the female fight was one of the best UFC fights that I have seen in history. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, I think that's been the kind of the general consensus. Everybody's been saying.
What a lights out matchup.
I'm pretty sure Dana White said that might be the best women's fight that they've ever had. I mean, the one woman at the end of it was unrecognizable. Literally looked like E.T.
Megamind.
Yeah, I thought E.T. Megamind's a good one.
Yeah.
So that's how you know they were scrapping. As far as Israel and Romero, man, Israel, my favorite fighter. I'm not a huge UFC guy, but if I was to pick one, that would be my boy. But Romero did exactly what he needed to give himself a chance. Honestly, I think he won the fight, but if you're not really winning by a decisive matter, you're not going to get the championship.
You're not going to get the decision.
Romero's like 3 inches shorter. His reach was way less. Romero just needed to sit there defensively and wait for Israel to open up to try and do something. And every time he opened up, Romero either clocked him or took him to the ground each and every time. Adesanya, fortunately for him, was able to kind of pick up on that and realize it. You could see he was getting frustrated, but at no point was he willing to do something drastic to try to get Romero to do something, because every time he did, he was popped for it. So,
nonetheless, people that are watching UFC are looking at it being like, hey, I expect blood. I expect people's faces to get knocked in. And like, look, it is. And that's where as fans, that's the brutality side of the human kind of trait where we want to see that in UFC. But nonetheless, these are individuals that are fighting in the octagon that are making money, first off, but want to win. Okay, so Romero's best chance to win, he felt, was to do it the way that he did. And he kind of brought Israel into that realm of he kind of determined the fight, Romero. He made Israel fight down to what he, not fight down, because Romero's a good fighter, but kind of fight at his pace. And that's where to be a champion, it's going to be successful, but you can't just do it the entire 5 rounds. When you get that opening, I think Romero should have been a bit more aggressive. And just kept going, because I think he has the strength to overcome Israel. I think he's stronger, not bigger, okay, but he's definitely stronger. Definitely could have made a better fight in that regard, but these are guys that are trying to win. They're not there to please. This fight just proved that Romero does not care what people think. No. Same with Israel. They don't give a dang about what anybody thinks. They're there to win, and they don't care how it's done as long as they have their arm raised at the end of the decision or celebrating with their trainers lifting the belt at the end. Either way, they did what they had to do. So everyone getting mad and saying, oh, what a waste of money. I feel bad for people that were watching. Listen, Robert Downey Jr. made almost $1 billion from Iron Man. Don't feel bad for the certain people that were watching, because the ticket, it costs a lot of money to go watch a UFC event. And yes, if you saved a lot of money to go watch the UFC 248 and you were disappointed with the main event, that's how they're going to fight to win. People want to win. But you got your money made up with in the female fight. That was one of the best fights I've seen in UFC history, like I said. And like Alex said, someone came out unrecognizable from the fight. Joanna was a complete different looking human being after coming out of that fight. She took 104 punches to the head.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Normally I'd say franchise crippling on this show, but you take a few letters out and go face crippling and woof.
Yeah, like, is she okay? Like, you get any update here? Like,
she'll be fine. She'll be fine.
Oh, like oh my goodness.
That's her job.
We talk about football and CTE. I won't even go there.
No, that's another conversation.
That's a whole other conversation. Transitioning from UFC though, continue to support UFC. I'm a big fan of it. GSP, come back.
Why would you want him to come back?
I know he's won. I just love. I want my dream fight to see him fight Conor McGregor.
Oh my God! If you like GSP, you don't want that to happen.
Why not?
Oh, GSP, don't do that. I mean, their weight classes are probably very different. Yeah, but look at their weight classes. But like pound for pound, GSP should be in a retirement home compared to Conor McGregor. So I probably wouldn't do that.
I guess. I just love GSP. That's the reason why I started watching UFC, obviously.
Very respectful fighter.
Definitely. He knows how to fight. And he was in a movie, Captain America's movie. Remember that?
No.
You don't remember that?
He was in that?
Movie. If you know what movie he was in, comment below.
Well, I mean, you narrowed it down for him.
One of the Captain America movies. But nonetheless, Blue Jays. I went a little bit loud to the mic. I can tell I just startled people in the back. Producer Jake. Oop. I think he fell out of his chair.
Hopefully sorry, everybody listening.
But nonetheless, because I talked right into the mic, I got to say that the Blue Jays spring training, oh, that's beautiful. Can we just admire the Blue Jay baseballs around the corner? I know it's still Leaf season, Raptor season, and we hope the best.
Let's go,
Jays.
Excited.
Let's get excited. Hey, I'm still excited about the Leafs.
I'm not excited about the Leafs. Let's go, Jays. Let's go, Raptors.
Blue Jays.
Let's go, Toronto Rock, baby.
How about the pitching in the Blue Jays spring training right now? I know it's just spring training, but it's fire. Fire.
Yeah.
That's the mitts. That's the mitts.
Gotcha.
Okay, not the. That's the bat. I don't know if anyone can hear bubbles, but nonetheless, Ryu,
Yep.
Tanner Work, Nate
Yep.
Pearson. Listen, I am a big fan of Nate Pearson. Literally, the guy's a big guy. But nonetheless, Nate Pearson is the future of this franchise. I'm going to tell you right now, this guy is going to be our number one ace within the next couple years.
Yep.
You watch. This Nate Pearson is fire. The only guy that's been kind of struggling is Chase Anderson.
Yeah.
Not really worried. I think that's a guy that if he continues to struggle, don't start him in the rotation. Put Barecki in there and maybe move Chase Anderson to the bullpen for a bit until he's able to stabilize a little bit. That works for some pitchers. Look, it worked for Estrada before he came over to the Blue Jays. It could work. So if someone's struggling in spring training, don't put them in the fire right in the beginning of the year. Blue Jays this year, are you optimistic? Are they a playoff team? Are we still looking for are we still kind of the Game Sports Show predictions where we said there's still another year or two away before even thinking?
Probably another year or two just based on the Red Sox being the Red Sox and the Yankees
They're stealing
being the
signs
Yankees.
out there and all that garbage.
Oh yeah, just literally just bang on a garbage can, you're good to go. God, all of the hate against the Astros, I can't say it enough. I love it. Keep beaming them. Keep chirping them from the dugouts about how they should give their MVPs and their rings back. I love it. Keep that up. If you send in a video to the Game Sports Show, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll figure it out. Anyway, keep chirping the Astros. But when it comes to the Blue Jays, 9-6 in the Grapefruit League. Alejandro Kirk got sent down today. A 21-year-old catcher hitting .500 over 8 games. That was amazing. He's 5'9", and people say that if he stood on his tippy toes, he's still probably not 5'9". 220.
It's a big boy.
Big, thick boy. Hate to see him sent
Optimism
down.
in Blue Jay land, all the young prospects.
See, this is me enjoying sports. Toronto sports that are blue that I can actually like and get behind. Wow, what a crazy concept.
Absolute fire. But we gotta stop there, Alex. We gotta go. We gotta sign out of here at the Game Sports Show. We'll be at Sports Center tomorrow, which is Wednesday. We'll be at Northern on Thursday. We'll have our local coverage on the weekends back here next week with ONNtv and our full 4 shows. Make sure to follow us on all of our platforms, as I mentioned at the beginning. He's Alex. I'm Dave. On behalf of Jake and as well as everyone here with ONNtv, thank you very much for supporting us here on the Game Sports Show. And we will be back next week and also with our shows later on this week. So I want to remind you all there to have a great night and booyah.